Hey there, you're listening to the DIY Marketing School podcast. I am your host and your marketing coach, Melanie Diane Howe. And today, I'm going to share some ways that you can add a personal touch to your communications. Ooh, I am so ready to dive into this episode. Okay, so we're going to talk about adding a personal touch to your communications. And specifically, I'm probably mostly referring to your customers or your prospective customers, but also really just anyone that is helping you along the way in this wonderful world of business. And so obviously, you know how much I love social media. If you've listened to this podcast, I believe in the power of social media as a way to connect deeper with your audience, and your audience being, again, comprised of customers as well as prospective customers, but also just people that work with you and help you and just maybe want to learn from you in this world of business. So, but I think it's a noisy place. I mean, the world of business, the world of social media, yeah, it's noisy. You're not the only one doing what you do in your business. You have competitors, whether they be local competitors or whether they be, if you're in the online space primarily only, then you obviously have competitors that do what you do that may not be local. You may also just have other people that do what you do that aren't necessarily, that you don't consider a competitor. However, it's important to stand out. It's important to connect. And one of the best ways that we can deepen those connections is to add some personal touches. And I know that, we're all trying to scale, and because if we're not growing, we're dying, right? And so sometimes it can feel overwhelming, and you can sometimes feel as though you're losing that connection with the people that you do business with or the people that are following you. We create content, we put it on social media, and we just put it out there. And sometimes people respond and sometimes they don't. And the more we grow and the more we scale, the more people maybe are engaging with us, and it can feel challenging or hard to feel like we are still able to keep it personal. And even if you are in the process of scaling now, or maybe you're still newer in business and you're not necessarily in a phase that you would quote unquote call scaling. You're like, Melanie, I'm good. I got 50 people that follow my Facebook page. I think I can stay in touch with people. Totally fine. However, when you think about growing or scaling, you may find yourself feeling a little bit nervous about that day will come and you're going to feel like you can't stay connected to people. And I'm talking to everybody here. So whether you're scaling or whether you're going to scale, you may have fears about getting into that phase. And I think it's important because I do think that sometimes we can get busy, whether it be because we are scaling or we just are just busy in our businesses and in our lives. And if we're not intentional, we can actually lose that personal connection and that personal touch. And so I think it's important to always make sure that we have ways layered into our, operations of our business, how we take care of our customers, but also just in general, just layered into how we, go through the flow of working in and around our business. And so I want to share a few tips today with you about how you can keep that personal touch or add that personal touch into how you are operating in your business. And again, this goes for people following you on social media, but also offline as well and whatnot. So here's the first tip I want to share with you. Is something I love to use for a couple reasons. And I almost always get good feedback on this. And that is to use audio. So I'm referring to both everywhere, really, anywhere. I feel like just about every platform now, inside of a direct message, you have an option to click on a little microphone and speak into your phone and record an audio message. This is available to you on Facebook. It's available to you on, Instagram. It's available to you on LinkedIn. It's available to you just about everywhere that you can have these direct messages. It's also available to you on most mobile devices. I personally have an iPhone, and it's been a feature for a long time, and I love using it. And that is just to speak and do an audio text versus a typed text. And when someone can hear your voice, they can hear a few things. They can hear your enthusiasm. They can hear your compassion. They can hear your passion about what you're speaking about, responding with. They can hear, if you're trying to be sarcastic and humorous, they can hear that. It is so important, and it creates such a deeper personal connection when you can actually hear someone say something versus read what they want to say. And the other thing I think happens is that when you take the time to send an audio text, you actually go into it deeper. So instead of just typing a short little response, you may spend a minute or 3 minutes or even 4 minutes, responding to somebody or sending someone a note. Now, what would these messages be? This could be direct messages that you're getting where someone's asking a question. It could be a direct message that comes to you because someone's responding to your Instagram story or your Facebook story. It could be anything. And so I just think that it goes a really long way, and it's really powerful when you can use this feature. And honestly, it's fast. Like, it's quick. I mean, you just hit that thing, record your little message and send it off. And it's great. And personally, I don't know if it's just because I move so fast or whatever, but when I'm especially on my mobile device and I'm like using my thumbs to type a message, I am constantly typoing. I literally am always correcting and having to edit and having to change this, or does that sound right? You also can get hung up on grammar and just commas and sentence structure. Don't worry about that crap. Just hit record and record a message instead. So I love using the audio feature. You can also use this to reach out to someone else. And so, if you're reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn and you want to stand out, or maybe you're pitching yourself to be a guest in their content, or you're just wanting to have a better connection and you don't want to come off as just some spammy person, then take the time and actually send an audio message instead of a text or a email or just a DM with some text in it. Maybe you see someone doing some really awesome things. Take the time to send them an audio message of encouragement. I think that this goes a long way. So the audio feature is available. You may have no idea what I'm talking about, which is why I wanted to share it, because a lot of times what happens is I will actually send someone an audio response, and they will respond to be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could do that." And it just kind of lights them up a little bit. And so I do think there's a lot of people that aren't aware that this is available to us. So get in your DMs. You'll see usually it's a little microphone icon, which ironically, the little microphone icons, I feel like they don't ever it doesn't really look like a microphone, but whatever. It's the icon for audio. So find that little audio icon, and usually you hit that button and you hold it down. You just press and hold it down, and all of a sudden the little recorder will pop up and show it to you that it's recording the audio. You just go ahead and talk into the microphone part of your phone, and it's usually obvious it's where you speak into your phone, and just record yourself. And a lot of these, especially the social media platforms, they cut you off at a minute. So watch that little dial that's kind of there created. And when you get close to a minute, go ahead and just kind of finish that thought and then send it off, and then record the next one. Continue talking. There's many times that I just send someone a short little note, but then there's a lot of times where I might need to explain something to somebody and I need more than just 1 minute. I tend to be a little bit verbose. And so I just make sure that I watch that little dial, I finish it up, get into the next one. More people are becoming accustomed to receiving audio messages. And so don't worry about, trying to put it all in 1 minute. People typically understand, like, I'm going to sit here and I just got 4 audio messages from this person and I'm going to just listen to all 4 of them. So I definitely think that this is a great way to talk to people again, and they can hear you, they can hear your passion, your compassion, whatever is in your message to them. They can hear that come across. And again, it's just going to make you stand out. It's going to help them feel really connected to you. So I love the audio feature, but give it a try. And of course, texting, maybe give it a shot. If you're just not real comfortable with your, talking and recording yourself, then maybe give it a try and play around with it with some friends using your text message audio feature there. You can do it the exact same way. This is different than the audio dictation where you speak and it will actually convert what you say to text. This is actually a recorded audio message. So it is different. So I want you to give that a try. Okay, so the next one is similar but different, which I feel like is a phrase I use all the time. I'm catching myself lately. But it's similar but different. And the way it's different is it's video. Okay, so I kind of gave you that first seed there to use audio and to connect with people in your responses. But I really want you to consider taking a step even further and using video. Now, I'll be honest with you. I use both. I love using video and I also love using the audio. Sometimes I'm kind of on the go. I'm not really in a spot to sit there and record a video, or I just got out of the gym and I'm just like, they don't want to see me. I'm just going to send them a quick little audio message. But I do love using video. I use video in a lot of ways in my business. Obviously, I use video publicly, like I do Facebook Lives. I have my private Facebook group, the free group, DIY Marketing with Melanie. I go live in there. I use video a lot. I'm loving using video on my LinkedIn profile. I'm getting lots of engagement on those videos. I'm talking about actually using it at a personal level. And so the way you can do it is, let's say, the exact same thing. Somebody has asked you a question and you want to respond to them. You can record a little video and send them the video. And they not only get to hear your voice, but they get to see your face. And I think this is so powerful, so powerful. Not only for your current customers to continue to love you to death and never want to leave you, but also for prospective people who maybe they've not worked with you yet, but they're thinking about it. If you send them a personal video to respond to a question, talk about standing out. Who does that, right? I don't see a lot of people doing this, and I love using it. I personally just think that it's powerful, but I also don't get hung up on sentence structure, and I don't have to worry about, does this sound okay? And are they going to get the right tone of voice from me and my words? But if I just record a video, then I can guarantee that it's going to come off exactly how I want it to, because I'm not worried about how they're going to read it. We all know that when you read something, you may interpret it in one tone of voice versus what the person intended. And so when you use audio, you can get more accurate reading from that person. But when you use video, you pretty much can't screw that up, So here's a couple ways that you would use the video. As I mentioned with the direct messages, you can just record a video on your phone and then just attach the video in your direct message response. Almost all the social media platforms support that. Now, the other way that I love using video, I use an application called Dubb, Dubb. I will link to it in the show notes. I actually love this platform so much that I advocate for it quite a bit. And I'll put my link in there that actually gets you 10% off, and it gives you a little discount there. So I think it's 10%. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, you get my point. So here's the deal. Dubb is very similar to other applications. If you've heard of Bonjour or maybe BombBomb, this is basically a very, very similar tool, and it's a little Chrome extension. You add it to your Chrome browser, and right there you just open up your web page. And let's say let's say you manage a Facebook group like me, and people ask questions in there, or maybe somebody shares something and you're like, ooh, I want to record a little video response for them. I love using this tool when I get questions in my group and I answer the questions instead of just typing a response. I will literally record a video for that person for that question. I say their name. I say, hey, so-and-so, I wanted to answer your question and I wanted to record this little video for you, and I will explain something. And then what Dubb does is it just records it right there with your webcam, whatever mic you have hooked up. And then it will save it to the database, to the server, the server, and it gives you a link, and you can take that link and then you can just go to the comment where they asked you the question or the direct message, whatever. And you just say, hey, I recorded a little video to answer your question, and you share it, and boom, there it is. You have the link, you've got, they can see your face, it pulls it up, and they can watch your response. I love doing this. I love using this tool and this feature. It helps me just connect again deeper with that person, but also they feel so special. They feel like, oh my gosh, she took the time to record a video for me. You guys, it's not that I'm not saying that it's not special, but I literally open up my browser and I click the button, I click record and I talk, and then I click finish, and then I've got a link and it's done. It's so easy and so fast. I do take the time, and I am putting myself on the screen. I am, taking the time to answer their question, but it's just such a better, more impactful way to answer and support them with these videos. And also what I love about it too is that somebody can see the question and see my video response. And even though they're not the one that asked the question, maybe they have the same curiosity. Maybe they need the same support. They can go watch the video too. And if you really want to get real savvy here, some of that content can be repurposed. So somebody might ask a question and you're like, oh man, I get this question a lot. Well, open up Dub, record a video, send the link, respond, but then you can download the video as well and upload it to another platform. And you could say, hey, someone in my private Facebook group asked this question, and I thought, hey, all of you, my LinkedIn followers, maybe some of you have the same question, so I'm sharing it here as well. Boom! Talk about repurposing content, right? So I really love using the app because not only it makes it easy for me to do these video responses, but it also allows me to save the video. I basically have a video library of all these personal videos I make, and then I can repurpose them if I want. And I'll say, here's the other way I'm using video, and I dig it. I'm using it in my email. So every week when I should share these podcast videos, many of you listening get my emails, right? And if you're not, what the heck? You're missing out. But if you're getting my emails, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I use Dub to make those emails that you get from me and those videos that you get in those emails from me. And I love it. It's just fast. It's easy. And I think, I get a lot of good feedback on it. People say, I really enjoy just getting an email and it's actually watching you talk to me about what's going on instead of me reading it. Now, some people prefer to read. That's totally fine. I don't love writing emails, but I love just clicking record and making these short little videos to introduce the podcast episode. So I also will sometimes use the video feature, this Dub application, to respond to people who respond to me. So sometimes I'll send an e-blast out or an email out to my list and I'll say, hey, what challenges are you facing right now? Send me a quick note and I will record a personal video for you to try to help you get unstuck. And I've done that multiple times and I really enjoy doing that. It's not like there's 150 people responding to me, telling me what their challenges are. So right now in this phase of my business that I'm in, I can do that. And so I'm taking this time while I'm in this phase and I'm just trying to create deeper connections. And so when I can have that one-on-one quick little, I'll sit down and I'll spend however much time it needs, a quick little block of time, and I just respond to all those emails. I just create little short little videos, get them unstuck, give them a little cheerleading, give them a little coaching, maybe point them in the right direction for some resources, and I help. And I love it. I enjoy it. I personally, really genuinely get so much joy out of doing that. And so that Dub application allows me to do that with email responses as well. So, and then randomly, sometimes I just respond to somebody else's business email that way. It's fun. It just mixes it up. But here's the deal. I always get amazing feedback about it. I've had multiple people actually start using this platform because of how I was using it. And they're like, you inspired me to use it for my clients and it's going great and I love it. I just think it's a great way for you to stand out and to be different, but also it's all about making that being more personal, adding that personal touch into how you're communicating with people. So first tip was to use audio. Use the audio feature whenever possible in your, texting or in your DMs in your social platforms. But then take it up a level and use video, whether you're just recording videos on your phone and sending them that way, or using an application like Dub or Bonjour, BombBomb. There's a lot of people starting to use the Marco Polo app now with their clients, maybe with their VIP clients, and that's another way to use video to just add that personal touch. And so I do think that it really will help you feel good about what you're doing and stand out and make those deeper connections. So the last thing I want to talk about is totally non-technology. And I know this isn't like anything like earth-shattering advice here or anything, but it's take the time to write a handwritten note. I mean, the power of a handwritten note is incredible. When you think about when you get a handwritten note, like either a thank you note or a note of encouragement from somebody, it feels so special. And I think that handwritten notes are becoming so rare. I mean, we used to get handwritten notes all the time and they're just becoming so rare because of technology. You might get an email from somebody and it's like an email of encouragement and it might make you feel good. But imagine how different does it feel when you get a handwritten note from somebody? So I know it's always made me feel amazing when someone takes the time to send me a card or a note, whether it be a few sentences or a few paragraphs. It just always feels special. And I actually save them. I mean, if I know I have the podcast episode about creating your encouragement bank that I'll link to in the show notes, of course, but I save all those cards that I get because they just mean so much to me. And I love to pull them out and go through them and read them and reread them. And it just feels good. And it's just like this box of joy that I can open up. And so I thought, I've really, in the last few years, I've really taken more time to do the same for other people. When I see them do something great, or if I just know they could probably use a quick little, note of encouragement, then I like to just take the time to send them something, a handwritten note. And I just think it goes a long way. And I think that it's something that people don't take the time to do anymore. So this is another way for you to stand out. So even if, let's say you're in business and you're like, oh my gosh, I have way too many customers. I could never write that many handwritten notes. That's fine. Well, you can sit down and write 5 notes in a week. I've got a really good friend of mine. Her name's Kristen Bitsaguy, and she sits down on Fridays and writes handwritten notes. That's what she does. I know. She used to always say, it's such a great thing for me. I sit down with my coffee and I sit down and I take time to write thank you notes for the week. And I know that, she did this heavily when she was running, nonprofits. She was in the nonprofit space, and she was an executive director. And she, obviously in the nonprofit space, you always have people doing favors for you. You always have people donating things, donating money. She really made sure she took the time to send those handwritten notes, and it went a long way for her. And I think that she also does this with friendships and everything else. And I always think of my friend Kristen. One, she has the handwriting of a font, which I always tell her. But, it just feels so good to get a note from her. And I know that other people, when I've taken the time to send them a note, they feel good too. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your best customers and make sure you take the time to send them the notes, or think about the people that are helping you in your business, whether it be vendors you use or peers you collaborate with or partner with. I want you to take the time to send a few notes a week if you can. And I think you'll actually find that you look forward to the process and enjoy it. And you're going to enjoy the feedback you get as well. So this is just another way to add a really personal touch. It does take a little bit more time, a little bit of effort in regards to sitting down. Obviously, you got to buy the notes. You got to buy the postage stamps. The first versions I gave you are pretty much free. I mean, the Dub application is not free, but you get what I'm saying here. But this is just, I think, one of the most powerful ways that you can add a personal touch in how you communicate with people. So think about the last time you sat down to write notes to customers or people, and how long has it been, or have you even ever done it? And if that's, I want you to do this and add this into your process of your business. It goes a long way. It really, really does. So that, you guys, is what I have for you. I hope that this was thought-provoking. That's what I always want to do. But I also want you to take action. And so I actually want to know if you take action in any of these things. Also, if you have questions ever about any of these episodes, I hope you're part of my Facebook group. It's a free community. It's called DIY Marketing with Melanie. It is for questions like this. It's also for additional thoughts. Maybe you've got some ideas. Maybe you've got some other ways that you've added a personal touch in how you communicate, and other DIY marketers. And when I say DIY marketers, obviously it's anyone doing their own marketing, right? Maybe you've got something to share for them that they can benefit from, an idea or something you've done that's worked really well. These are just 3 tips, and there are a million ways out there for you to add that personal touch. So I'd love for you to join that community, join in the conversation, ask additional questions, see me use the video application in real life, but also share your gifts with other people doing what you're doing. And that's growing and scaling a business of their dreams and sharing their gifts with the world and just making it work, right? So again, it's DIY Marketing with Melanie. It's over on Facebook. It's a free community, and I love it. And so join us over there. But you guys, that's what I got for now. So go out, take action, add a personal touch to your marketing, make a bigger impact, and don't forget, go be awesome.